Come on the air, a new step in the fight against fraud, with top Trump administration officials unveiling more than a dozen new indictments alleging fraud in several state-run programs. And they say the schemes targeted more than $90 million of taxpayer money. Thanks for joining us at 5 on air and streaming live. I'm Julie Nelson.
And I'm Lauren Lemanchek. The major announcement comes in the wake of several KARE 11 investigations that exposed much of this fraud before it captured national attention. And that includes alleged fraud within the Housing Stabilization Services program.
Officials also claim the new indictments represent the largest autism fraud bust in American history, with prosecutors doubling down, saying they're not done. We have extensive team coverage tonight. We begin with the indictments and Lou Raguse. Lou?
Julie, 15 people face new charges. The feds say that those charges represent $90 million in taxpayer money stolen across 7 different state programs. How much are you going to be able to pay back?
When Abdi Najib Yusuf and Asha Hassan pleaded guilty to fraud run from their autism clinics, Smart Therapy and Star Autism, they indicated others were involved. Now, 2 more men are charged in connection to their cases, what federal officials call historic.
Today's arrests represent the largest autism fraud bust in American history. This was not a paperwork error. It was not a technical violation. This was organized threat, organized theft that exploited the most vulnerable children in America.
Star Autism and Smart Therapy allegedly billed Medicaid for $46.6 million and got their hands on $21.1 million of that amount. The feds recently raided many different daycares and autism centers, but the 15 people facing new charges appear to all stem from investigations that started before that.
This is the beginning of our work in Minnesota.
2 of the new charges represent federal investigators' new focus on daycare fraud, something that used to be primarily handled by state investigators. Several of the defendants already indicate that they intend to plead guilty, and some of those hearings have already been scheduled.
There's no fraud that's too big for this team to solve, and we are intent in going wherever the facts require us to go and charge whoever we need to charge for those who are within the chain of criminal culpability.
Many of the allegations within these charges are pretty egregious and match what we've been reporting before. For example, the autism centers paying parents to bring their kids in, getting them fake diagnoses for autism so that they can defraud the system. Julie.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. A lot of these cases we've been reporting on, they've been in the works for a while, but these are just new people that they've indicted today?
Yeah, in fact, that's the autism one. The 2 owners of the autism centers have already pleaded guilty, so there are more people charged within those same cases. Remember all the raids that we recently covered? Those apparently will be charges that will come down the road. They are not any of the charges that happened today.
Okay, yeah, more charges to come. Lou, thank you.
Well, many of the charges today have direct ties to years of reporting from our KARE 11 investigative team, exposing rampant fraud across the state. AJ
Legault joins us now with a closer look at that connection. AJ?
Yeah, one of the key indictments today involves the leader of a company called Ultimate Home Health Services. And this is a company that is no stranger to KARE 11 Investigates. Last year, we exposed how a severely mentally ill man, his name's Rick Clemmer, died in his St. Paul apartment and wasn't found for some time, despite his taxpayer-funded caregivers, a company called Ultimate Home Health Services, billing as if they were providing him 12 hours of one-to-one, face-to-face services every day. Today, company leader Ahmed Kadir was indicted.
Meanwhile, the architect of this fraud scheme was billing Medicaid as if he was providing care to this patient. The defendant even submitted a claim of over $400 for services he never provided the day before this man died.
Well, despite today's indictment, sources have previously told me that Ahmed Kadir fled the country back in December. The DOJ wouldn't say today whether he's in custody. We're going to have a lot more on this case and a really crazy escape attempt by another suspect. We'll have that tonight on KARE 11 News at 6.
Yeah, it's frustrating that he has fled the country, as your sources are telling you, because I remember that story and how heartbreaking that was and how many other people that you've reported on have been harmed by this fraud. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this has been in the works for some time, these charges.
This indictment likely would have been brought back in January, I'm told, if it wasn't for everything that went down with Metro Surge and ICE being in town. This case got delayed in coming forward. And as we've continued to report, there's been a lot of fallout, Lauren. Human toll from this case. This provider, flees the country, stops providing services, and the vulnerable people have just been left to languish in this apartment building as the conditions just deteriorated, and it's been a real mess.
So we're speaking of the one person who sounds like he's left the country. There's another today we're going to talk about at 6 who tried to jump from a 4-story balcony and escape. Are there many people in custody right now for this, or is that not how this works generally?
They're trying to pick up some of these people. The DOJ said they are, aggressively pursuing them, depending on where some of these suspects go. If they've managed to get out of the country, do we have extradition treaties with some of these countries? Many of them have bought property in Kenya, and it's also really hard to claw back the money and the property that's bought overseas and in other countries. So there's a lot of issues that still need to play out here.
Yeah.
We'll see you at 6 for more
All right,
of the
see you then.
story. Thank you, AJ. Well, another major announcement from the feds today. The DOJ is expanding its healthcare fraud unit strike force to include Minnesota. They already have prosecutors in Chicago and Detroit focusing on kickbacks, money laundering, and other complex fraud schemes. The DOJ has similar teams in the Northeast, in LA, and parts of Texas and Florida.
In the last hour, the Inspector General of Minnesota's Human Services Department released a statement saying the office has been working with state and federal investigators for months, building cases against today's suspects. In a statement, the Inspector General says they've shut off money to providers more than 600 times in the last 18 months and are tightening up oversight to stop criminals, adding that as those efforts continue, they expect to see even more charges.